Islam on them, but you have to respect it. First, you ask the rise in the number of the ladies in headscarf. Actually, that's a wrong perception. There was a recent social study about this, a survey. I mean, how many people wear the headscarf? And this is something which is done by every 7 years by scholars, university professors. And it showed that the number of women who wear the headscarf in Turkey is not increasing. It's basically in the same level. And it's like, I think, 50% of the population wears it, something like that, half of the population. But they're different. There are more lax headscarves, more, very tight and, very observant ones. And anyway, but like 50%, let's say. But what is happening is that the number of women who are more visible with the headscarf is increasing, which means that the women who used to sit at home with the headscarf are now going to streets, they're going to schools, they're going to cafes, they're becoming a more part of the society. They're in business, they're working more, and so on. So the less visible conservative segment of the society is becoming more visible, and that's why the Kemalists perceive that they're increasing all the time. And if they're increasing, so be it, no problem. But I mean, they see the threat there, and that's why. And actually, it shows that actually the society is normalizing. The Islamic people have always been suppressed and seen as second class by the secular elite, and they've always thought that this is their country. The other people are not second class somehow. They should be educated in order to be good citizens. But now they are more successful. And you have more successful businessmen who are Islamic than the secular ones. In politics, in education, in culture, in every aspect of life, the more observant people are becoming also as good as even better than the seculars, which is, I think, creating a more healthy Turkey, which is not, it's not the thing that the CHP is afraid. But as for the apostasy well, I don't know the exact statement about, you said the ulama and they're being manipulated by the state. Well, you're right that the ulama has been manipulated by the state, and some of the ulama have, reacted and resisted to that, and that's why some of them have been tortured and killed even by some of the Islamic rulers. And it was not that harsh in the Ottoman Empire, but it's true that the empire, the state can manipulate people. But there were many independent Islamic thinkers, not ulama paid by the state. There were many Islamic scholars who were financed by their own resources, and Islamic intellectuals who worked these ideas in the Ottoman Empire. Democracy was debated a lot, for example, among Ottoman intellectuals, Muslim intellectuals, like Namık Kemal, for example. And they said, well, this is compatible with the basic idea of Islam, in which you have the idea of shura, meshwarat, and the governor should consult with the people, and the parliament is just the modern version of that, and so on. So these ideas were articulated not by people who were manipulated by the state, but also who were independent. And actually, some of the ulama or the scholars were asking the state to become more democratic. They were actually they were spearheading the reforms. And secularism and apostasy, I think, again, that depends what secularism means. If secularism means diminishing the role of religion in society, destroying religious institutions, banning the proselytizing of Islam, banning the practice of Islam. Of course, it's a tool to make people unbelievers. But if secularism means that Islam will not be imposed by the state will be neutral, but Muslims themselves, as communities, as individuals, will articulate and explain and live and practice their faith, I think that is much better than that. So I don't think that a liberal secular system is a key to apostasy, it leads to apostasy. It just, of course, some people will be free to abandon Islam, and so be it. I don't think that we should keep them in Islam because we are forcing them to be so. If they want to change their religion, so be it. It's their choice. And it is God who will judge them in the judgment day. It's not our responsibility. But I think that if you impose Islam, you have a shortcut to hypocrisy. People will be looking Islamic because the state forces them to be so, but in their hearts they won't be that Islamic. And I think that's why I've heard many stories about Saudi people living very devoutly in Saudi Arabia, and they get on the plane to London, and they wear miniskirts instead of the hijab, and they go to the first bar and drink and do everything, which, I mean, when you impose it, that's what you get. I mean, maybe you have a reaction to that. I mean, the same thing for Iran. I mean, some Iranians come to Turkey from the eastern border for a weekend. They drink like, you know, hell, and they just do everything they can't do at home. And they go home and they just behave like normal people. And I mean, normal according to Iranian standards. But I mean, that's not what you want to see. Is that a good thing? I mean, do we make people more godly? Do we make people more, you know, good Muslims by doing so? No. Just the Iranian regime has this luxury of saying, I'm a great Islamic regime and my people are super. I mean, you know, Ahmadinejad says we don't have any homosexuals in Iran. You know, he said, I mean, it can't be like that. The yes, it's a wrong thing. I mean, homosexuality, I think, is an immoral choice, but you can't do that. You can't make people stay away from those kind of issues by state pressure. You have to appeal to the hearts of the people, and if you want to make people get away from sin, you have to appeal to them and make them feel so. Otherwise, it has no meaning.